It was a normal night. People were watching TV, eating dinner, and scrolling through their phones. The sky was clear. The stars were shining. Nothing felt wrong. But then, it happened. At exactly 9:13 p.m., people around the world looked up and saw something strange in the sky. Hundreds, no, thousands of black ships were floating above the cities. They were huge, like flying mountains. They made no sound, no lights, no weapons, just silence. In New York, a boy dropped his ice cream and stared up. In Tokyo, trains stopped. People screamed. In Nigeria, a mother grabbed her children and ran inside. Everywhere, fear began. TV news channels started reporting. Unknown objects in the sky, possibly alien in origin. Governments called emergency meetings. Air Force jets flew up to check the ships. But the ships did nothing. They just floated there, watching. People started to panic. Why are they here? Why are they not talking? Are we going to die? Hours passed. No answer came. Then, without warning, the power went out. Around the world, every light, every screen, every phone turned black. Total darkness. Satellites stopped working. Planes dropped from the sky. Hospitals failed. Cities went silent. A strange deep hum started. A low, vibrating sound, like something ancient, something alive. People covered their ears. Dogs barked. Birds flew in crazy patterns. Humanity had no idea what was coming. In London, a young scientist named Aidan Ross was watching from the rooftop of a tall building. He had a small lab and worked for the UK Space Defence Program. He whispered, "They're not here to talk. They're here to study us." His friend, Maria, looked at him. "What do you mean?" "They're not attacking," Aidan said. "They're scanning, observing, like we are ants." He opened his laptop, but it was dead. Even the battery. He picked up his radio. Nothing. Total electronic silence. Only one thing was still working, an old magnetic compass. The needle inside the compass was spinning, shaking like crazy. Aidan's eyes widened. "They're messing with Earth's magnetic field." Maria stepped back. "But why?" "I don't know yet," he said. "But if they can control the magnetosphere, they can control the planet." Across the world, military forces were preparing for war. Fighter jets were lined up. Submarines moved silently under oceans. Nuclear missiles were ready. But no one gave the order to attack. Why? Because no one knew what the aliens wanted. No demands, no message, just silence. Then, the first attack happened. In the Nevada desert, a hidden U.S. military base, one of the most secure on Earth, was hit by a thin beam of light from the sky. It didn't make a sound. It didn't explode. It just erased the base. Nothing remained. World leaders realized these ships were not here for peace. They were testing us, one by one. A new global alert was sent. We are under invasion. All nations must prepare. In the next 10 hours, 14 more small bases were destroyed across the world. No human weapon touched the ships. Missiles disappeared before hitting. Bullets melted midair. Lasers bounced back. Fear turned into hopelessness. Aidan, still watching from his rooftop, felt the weight of it all. "We are not ready for this," he whispered. But he didn't give up. He pulled out a hidden notebook, an old idea he once wrote down. Project Fury. A secret plan he designed years ago in case Earth was invaded. It was never finished, never funded. People laughed at it. But now, it was Earth's only hope. As night turned into morning, the skies were still full of alien ships. Cities looked small. Humanity looked weak. But deep in the heart of a burning planet, a silent fire began to grow. Earth was not finished. Earth was waiting. And soon, Earth would strike back. The world was quiet, but not calm. The alien ships were still there, black, silent, and terrifying, hanging over every city like death waiting to fall. People stopped going outside. Streets were empty. Schools were closed. The internet was still down. There was no electricity, no TV, no phones. It was the longest night in human history. In a military control room under the Swiss Alps, generals from every major country sat together, speaking in short, worried voices. Are they going to attack again? Should we strike first? Can we even hurt them? No one had answers, only fear. Then a signal came from the U.S. government. Authorization. Launch a test missile. Target. Alien ship over Arizona. One missile. Just to test. At exactly 6:12 a.m., a high-speed missile shot into the sky. People across the western U.S. watched it rise like a bright comet. They hoped. They prayed. The missile reached the alien ship and disappeared. No explosion. No flash. Nothing. It was like the missile hit a ghost. Then the alien ship responded. A long, glowing beam slowly dropped from its center. It touched the ground like a soft laser pointer. But then, the earth shook. The entire Arizona military base melted like ice under fire. Tanks turned to liquid. Buildings vanished. It took only 8 seconds. Humans had fired first and paid the price. Back in London, Aidan Ross stood at the edge of his rooftop, his notebook in hand. He stared at the latest news, sent through old emergency radio waves. Base destroyed. 0 survivors. Unknown weapon. Maria, standing beside him, said, "They're unstoppable." Aidan shook his head. "No, every technology has a rule, a limit. We just haven't found theirs yet." Maria pointed at the sky. They didn't even move. They didn't even try. "That's the worst part," Aidan said. "To them, we're not enemies. We're insects." Across the world, alien ships began to scan buildings with blue lights. They didn't destroy the cities. They were looking for something. Something hidden. In India, ships hovered near ancient temples. In Egypt, they circled around the pyramids. In Antarctica, they stayed over the ice. They were not here to kill everyone. At least not yet. They were searching. Meanwhile, in Iceland, an old underground lab came to life. This was Project Fury, a secret global research program abandoned 12 years ago. A man named Dr. Emil Vargas stood alone inside the cold metal room. When he saw the alien attacks on the emergency feed, he knew. It was time. He opened a locked vault. Inside was a glowing red device, humming with heat and energy. The pulse. It was humanity's last weapon, built from Earth's core vibrations. Too dangerous, too unstable, never tested. But now it was all they had. Dr. Vargas sent a single message through a protected line. To anyone listening, the pulse is real. It is ready. But we need data. Find their weakness. Aidan received that message. Later that night, Aidan looked through a telescope. He noticed something strange. The ships were not using fuel. They were feeding off Earth's magnetic field. He drew in his notebook. They eat energy. They don't destroy to win. They destroy to survive. He picked up the radio. "Dr. Vargas, I know what they're doing. They're not here for us. They're here for the planet." Vargas replied, "Then we must strike back. But only once. Only when we're ready." But time was running out. The alien ships started dropping drones, small spider-like machines that crawled across the cities. They didn't kill. They scanned. They planted small devices into the ground. In Paris, one device made the soil turn black. In Cairo, it made water disappear. In Brazil, it caused trees to fall in silence. The planet was changing. They were terraforming Earth. Aidan whispered, "They don't want to conquer Earth. They want to make it their home." Maria asked, "What happens to us?" Aiden looked up at the dark ships and said, "We won't survive if we wait." The world had two choices now: wait and die quietly, or rise and fight with everything left. And somewhere deep in the earth, Project Fury began to warm up, waiting for the signal. The world was changing fast. Alien ships still covered the skies. Their machines were everywhere, crawling, scanning, planting strange devices in the ground. The air felt heavier. The nights were longer. The planet was slowly being turned into something not human. But deep underground in Iceland, hope was alive. Inside an old research base, Dr. Emil Vargas looked at the red, glowing machine in front of him. It was called the Pulse, a weapon built from Earth's own power, not electricity, not fire, but pure magnetic energy from the planet's core. No one believed it would ever work. It had never been tested. Some even feared it could break the planet itself. But now, it was Earth's only hope. In London, Aiden Ross was trying to finish the plan. He spoke with Dr. Vargas through an old, cracked satellite link. "They feed on energy," Aiden said. "They drain the magnetic field like parasites." Dr. Vargas nodded. "Then we will use that hunger against them." Aiden opened his old notes. "The pulse can shock the field. If they're connected, we can overload them. But we have one shot," Vargas warned. "If we use too much power, we could tear open the Earth's crust." Aiden paused. "So we make it count." The plan was simple but risky. They would lure a group of alien ships to a location full of magnetic activity, the volcano near Reykjavik. Then they would activate the pulse underground. If it worked, it would send a magnetic shockwave straight into the ships. If it failed, it could trigger a volcano eruption, or worse, destroy the base. There was no time left to test. They had to try. Dr. Vargas and his team began moving the pulse to the volcano's base. The machine was massive, shaped like a spinning ring, covered in red coils and humming wires. Outside, drones flew overhead. Alien sensors were watching everything. So the team moved at night. Quiet, cold, careful. At the same time, Aiden sent out a message to world leaders. "We are about to fight back. This is not a drill. This is not hope. This is war." The world held its breath. Finally, on a dark morning, the pulse was ready. Aiden stood with Vargas in a small command room deep below the mountain. The screen showed 5 alien ships slowly hovering above. The bait had worked. The pulse started charging. The lights dimmed. The air buzzed. The earth rumbled. Then, Aiden pushed the button. At first, there was only silence. Then, a deep sound filled the sky. A low, angry vibration that made glass crack and people fall to their knees. A glowing blue ring shot out of the volcano like a wave. It hit the first alien ship. The ship froze in place. Its lights flickered. Then it began to shake. The ship's body bent. Its dark metal started glowing red. And then, it exploded. Not like a bomb. Like a star collapsing. One ship, gone. Then the second, and the third. All 5 ships over the volcano were destroyed in less than 2 minutes. Cheers broke out in the base. People cried. People shouted. For the first time, humanity had hurt the enemy. But the victory came at a cost. The pulse was damaged. Sparks flew. Heat levels were rising. Dr. Vargas shouted, "Shut it down." But it was too late. The mountain shook. Lava began to rise inside the vents. "We've started a volcanic reaction," a technician yelled. Aiden grabbed the controls and slammed the emergency kill switch. The pulse stopped. The mountain calmed. Barely. Outside, people in Iceland watched as smoke filled the sky, but no alien ships were left above them. News spread fast, through radios, emergency networks, old TV towers. Earth had struck back and won a battle. But not everyone was celebrating. High in the sky, the largest alien ship, a dark, moon-sized ship known as the Sky Eater, began to move. Until now, it had remained silent, watching, waiting. Now, it was waking up. Its lights turned red. Its engines began to burn. It was headed toward Earth's main cities. The aliens were angry. In London, Aiden looked at the sky. He knew this was only the beginning. "We hurt them," he whispered. "Now they'll come for everything." Maria stood beside him. "What do we do next?" Aiden closed his notebook and said, "We bring the whole world together. We fight as one." The sky turned black over many cities. It was not night. It was the Sky Eater, the largest alien ship, now moving fast toward Earth. Its body was massive, round, and filled with red lights. It blocked the sun. It blocked the stars. People looked up and felt like ants under a boot. This was not a visit. This was not a warning. This was war. In Washington, Beijing, London, and dozens of other capitals, world leaders held emergency calls. Aiden Ross's message was clear. We can hurt them, but only if we work together. No borders, no secrets. This is not country vs. country. This is Earth vs. extinction. For the first time in history, enemies became allies. The world formed one command, Global Earth Defense, GED. In Brazil, scientists unlocked hidden solar batteries. In India, engineers used old temple blueprints to activate energy tunnels deep below the Himalayas. In Kenya, ancient tribes joined hands with the military to guide them to powerful magnetic spots on Earth. Everyone, everywhere, was doing something. This time, humans were not waiting to die. Meanwhile, in the Arctic Ocean, the Sky Eater opened its lower shell. Thousands of drones came out, flying, crawling, swimming. They landed in cities and began to change the land. In Tokyo, roads turned soft. In Berlin, buildings lost gravity. In New York, oxygen levels started to fall. People wore masks. Some fainted. Some vanished. Aliens weren't just fighting humans. They were changing Earth's air, water, and soil to fit their needs. Terraforming had begun. In Iceland, the pulse weapon lay damaged but repairable. Dr. Vargas worked day and night to fix it. It would take time. And the Sky Eater was not waiting. Aiden Ross and Maria returned to London with a plan. "We can't fight that thing head-on," Aiden said. "It's too big, too smart, and learning fast." Maria asked, "Then what do we do?" "We cut off its food," Aiden replied. "The Sky Eater is feeding on Earth's magnetic grid. If we break the flow, we starve it." To do that, they needed to target 3 power nodes, points on Earth where magnetic energy was strongest. If these were cut, the Sky Eater would grow weak. The 3 nodes were the Amazon crater, hidden under the jungle; the Sahara Rift, buried deep in the desert; the Himalayan core, locked beneath the ice and rock. Each node was guarded by alien tech, deadly, cold, and fast. So, the world formed 3 strike teams: Team Amazon, Brazilian commandos, and U.S. engineers; Team Sahara, African tribes, French pilots, and Indian scientists; Team Himalaya, Chinese climbers, Nepalese monks, and UK defense units. Aiden would guide all 3 teams through satellite feed. Each had one mission: reach the node, plant the disruptor device, get out. Team Amazon was first to reach their target. They cut through trees, fought off flying drones, and reached the crater after 9 hours. But inside the crater was a magnetic beast, a creature made of metal and light, guarding the node. They fought hard. Guns didn't work. Then, one soldier used a mirror to reflect the sun directly into the beast's core. It screamed and shut down. Device planted. 1 node down. Team Sahara flew over a sandstorm. They landed in the middle of nowhere, then were attacked by sand crawlers, small alien machines with spinning legs. A tribal leader named Makoni used an old chant. It caused the wind to rise and block the machines. They planted the device and escaped in silence. 2 down, 1 to go. Team Himalaya was not so lucky. The path was steep. The cold was deadly. The alien guards were stronger here. A drone spotted them early and called for backup. The fight began before they reached the core. Explosions lit up the ice. Maria, now part of this team, led a group inside a cave under heavy fire. She was injured but kept moving. Finally, they'd reached the node, glowing, beating like a heart. She planted the final device, but the cave started to collapse. The team escaped, but barely. All 3 nodes were hit. High above Earth, the Sky Eater flickered. Its lights turned from red to white. It stopped moving. It made a strange sound, not mechanical, but almost like a scream. The beast was hurt. Back in London, Aiden smiled. "We've started something," he said. "Now we finish it." But the aliens weren't finished yet. A deep signal came from the Sky Eater. A new wave of ships was on its way. Bigger, faster, angrier. Time was running out. Earth had fought back. But the real invasion was just beginning. The world was on edge. The war had only just begun. The Sky Eater was hurt, but it wasn't finished. It had been weakened by Earth's magnetic attack. But now, the real force was arriving. New ships, bigger and faster than before, began to fill the sky. Alien drones swarmed the cities. They were more deadly. They moved quicker. They had learned from their previous mistakes. And Earth was running out of time. In London, the Global Earth Defense, GED, had one final plan. It was called the Final Protocol, a full-scale counterattack. Everything had been prepared in secret. Weapons, strategies, alliances. The plan was simple. Strike at the heart of the alien fleet. Destroy the Sky Eater. Aiden, Ross, and Maria stood in the GED command room. Maps of alien ship positions flickered on the walls. "We need to strike now," Aiden said. "We hit them while they're still recovering. The Sky Eater is vulnerable." But Maria hesitated. "We don't have enough firepower to take it down." Aiden turned to Dr. Vargas. "What about the pulse? Can we use it again?" Vargas shook his head. "The pulse is too damaged. If we try again, it might destroy the planet. But if we don't try," Aiden said, "Earth dies." The room fell silent. Then the countdown began. The final strike began. Team Amazon led the attack, using powerful drones and explosives to breach alien shields around the Sky Eater. They had one goal: disable the ship's energy core. Meanwhile, Team Sahara infiltrated alien bases, planting EMP bombs in key positions. They were trying to knock out the aliens' communication systems. On the ground, Team Himalaya was preparing for a final assault on the alien forces near the mountains. Aiden, Maria, and Dr. Vargas coordinated from the GED headquarters. "We're almost there," Aiden said. "We just need to keep them busy for 1 more hour." Then everything changed. Without warning, an emergency alert flashed on the screens. "Betrayal detected." A woman's voice, cold and emotionless, spoke through the speakers. "We have been given new orders. The final protocol is to be canceled. You will not stop the Sky Eater." It was General Vasquez, the leader of the GED military forces, a trusted ally. But now, her words were a death sentence. Aiden's eyes widened. "What are you saying? We can't stop now. We're this close." Maria ran to the control panel. "No, something's wrong." Then, they saw it. A small group of soldiers had switched sides. They were already moving toward the Sky Eater's main defense shield, ready to protect it. General Vasquez had betrayed them. In a hidden military base, Vasquez stood beside a small group of alien operatives. She had been working with them for months. When the humans thought they were fighting for survival, Vasquez had been planning to hand over Earth to the aliens. Her plan was simple: Let the aliens take over, and they would spare her. She didn't care about the billions of people who would die. She only cared about power. And now she had it. Back in London, Aidan and Maria were in shock. Betrayal. The people they trusted had just turned on them. We need to fix this. Now, Aidan said, slamming his fist on the table. They quickly sent a signal to Team Amazon and Team Sahara. They had to stop Vasquez and her soldiers before the Sky Eater was fully protected. But time was running out. In the Sahara Desert, Team Sahara had already finished planting the EMP bombs. They were about to move in when they saw the alien ships shift their positions. Vasquez's soldiers had cut off their path. "They're coming for us," one soldier shouted. They had no choice. They had to fight. In the Amazon, things were just as chaotic. Team Amazon had reached the Sky Eater's energy core, but found Vasquez's men waiting. A battle broke out, human vis human, in the shadow of the alien ship. Explosions rocked the jungle. Trees burned. The sound of gunfire echoed in the night. Team Amazon fought for their lives as Vasquez's soldiers tried to take control. In the Himalayas, Team Himalaya found themselves surrounded by alien forces. The mountains trembled as they heard a voice in the distance. "This is the end of your world." The alien ship's main weapon began to charge. They were ready to fire. Back in London, Aidan and Maria could only watch. "Why?" Aidan whispered. "Why would she do this?" Maria's voice was full of anger. Some people want power more than they want humanity. Suddenly, a message came through. Team Sahara had destroyed the EMP bombs. The Sky Eater's shields were down. But Vasquez's forces were closing in fast. "We have one chance," Aidan said. "We need to get to the Sky Eater." Now, the final battle was about to begin. The sky was on fire. The Sky Eater hovered above the earth, its engines glowing brighter than ever before. Alien ships swarmed the skies, darkening the horizon. The earth had never been more vulnerable. It was as if the whole planet was holding its breath, waiting for what would come next. Aidan Ross stood on the rooftop of the GED Command Center in London. The wind was cold. His face was tired. The last few days had drained him, but there was no time to rest. The world had only one chance left. "This is it," Aidan said. His voice was grim. Maria stood beside him. She had lost people, seen things she never thought she'd see, but she wasn't about to give up now. "We end this, Aidan," she replied, her eyes filled with determination. The final strike was about to begin. Teams across the world had gathered. The fight would take place in 3 parts. Team Amazon would infiltrate the heart of the Sky Eater. They needed to reach its core and destroy it from the inside. Team Sahara would hold the enemy at bay, fighting to protect the global defense satellites that would send a signal to activate the final weapon. Team Himalaya would defend the pulse, ensuring it could be used one last time, but only if everything else went according to plan. In the Amazon, Team Amazon was moving fast. They had planted explosives along the ship's walls, but they needed to reach the inner core. The ship was alive with alien drones, more dangerous than before. Each corner was a trap. Every step felt like a countdown to their death. "We can't stop now," the leader of Team Amazon, Captain Torres, shouted as he and his team ran through the ship's metal corridors. Explosions erupted behind them. The alien drones were closing in. But they had no choice. They had to push forward. Finally, they reached the core. It was glowing, a giant heart of alien energy, pulsing with raw power. Team Amazon planted the last of the charges. "1 minute," Torres said. "Get out now." They ran as fast as they could, knowing that their only chance of survival was to escape before the core detonated. As they ran back, the whole ship began to shake. The countdown had begun. In the Sahara Desert, Team Sahara was fighting for their lives. The alien forces were massive. Soldiers, drones, and alien weapons filled the horizon. Their job was simple: hold the line. The EMP bombs had worked, and the Sky Eater's shields were down, but it wasn't enough. Alien ships were already coming for Earth's satellites, trying to cut off the last remaining chance humanity had to fight back. "We need to keep them away," shouted Commander Ahmed, as he led his team to secure the final defense towers. The sound of gunfire filled the air. Explosions rocked the ground beneath them. Aliens were everywhere, but Team Sahara didn't back down. They fought with everything they had. Every shot was a reminder that they weren't just fighting for survival. They were fighting for their world. In the Himalayas, the pulse was ready, but Dr. Vargas and his team were under constant attack. Alien drones were getting closer. The mountain's temperature was freezing, but it was nothing compared to the heat of battle. The pulse had been repaired just in time. Now it needed to be activated. But before they could do so, a new threat emerged. General Vasquez's traders had joined the aliens. They were here to stop them. Vasquez had sent them to destroy the pulse and bring Earth to its knees. But the team was ready. "We can't let them through," said Dr. Vargas as he set the final setting on the pulse. The last of Vasquez's forces were almost upon them. It was a fight to the finish. Gunfire echoed across the icy peaks, but Dr. Vargas didn't falter. He knew what was at stake. Back in London, Aiden and Maria watched the battle unfold. Their eyes stayed locked on the screen, waiting. The tension was unbearable. Would humanity survive? "The final signal is live," Aiden said as he pressed a button. Now, we wait. Time seemed to stretch forever. Then the countdown timer for Team Amazon's charges hit 0. Boom! A massive explosion shook the entire alien ship. The Sky Eater screamed as it exploded into pieces. The shockwave sent tremors across the Earth. It was a victory, but it wasn't enough. The battle was far from over. In the Sahara, the defense towers held, but only just. Team Sahara had fought their hardest. Their lives were given to protect humanity's last hope. And the final satellite network had been activated. In the Himalayas, the pulse finally activated. The energy released by the pulse was enough to cripple the remaining alien ships. The Sky Eater was gone. Its fleet scattered. The remaining aliens had nowhere to go. Humanity had won, but the cost was high. The Sky Eater was destroyed. The remaining alien ships retreated, vanishing into the dark of space. The Earth had been saved, but not without great sacrifice. Aiden and Maria stood side by side. The battle was over. The war was won. But the world would never be the same. They had survived, and humanity had shown its strength. Now they had to rebuild, not just Earth, but the trust, the unity, and the hope that had been forged in the heat of battle. As Aiden looked up at the sky, he whispered, "We did it." The sky was clear. For the first time in weeks, Earth's atmosphere seemed calm, freed from the hum of alien ships and the fear of imminent destruction. The war was over, but the scars remained. In London, the world leaders gathered in a massive conference room. The city was silent, save for the whispers of those who had survived. People everywhere were starting to rebuild, but it would take years, perhaps decades, to return to what they had lost. Aiden Ross stood before them, his face weary but determined. Maria stood beside him, her eyes scanning the room. "We did it," Aiden said, his voice firm. "But we can't forget what we've lost. The war has changed us, and now we have to change the world." He looked over at Maria. She nodded. "We're not just survivors. We're the future, and that future must be built together." The GED, Global Earth Defense, had become more than just a military organization. It was now the heart of a new Earth, a unified force of nations working together for the survival and advancement of humankind. The technology they had discovered from the aliens had allowed them to rebuild faster than anyone could have imagined. But there was still a dark cloud hanging over them. In the desert, near the ruins of the Sahara Rift, an unusual energy signal had been detected. The alien ships were gone. But what if the aliens had left something behind? What if their escape was not a retreat, but a preparation for something far worse? Commander Ahmed stood on the edge of a broken ridge, staring out at the endless dunes. His mind raced as he examined the data coming from his team. "What are we missing?" he muttered. He turned to his second-in-command, Lieutenant Asim. "I don't like this. It's too quiet." Suddenly, his communicator beeped. A coded message appeared on the screen. "They're coming." In the Himalayas, Dr. Vargas had been working with a team of engineers, studying the remnants of the pulse weapon. It had saved Earth, but at a terrible cost. The device had damaged the magnetic field of the planet, and as they studied it more closely, they discovered an alarming truth. The pulse wasn't just a weapon, it was a beacon that sent a signal to the farthest reaches of space. Back in London, the news was growing darker. The aliens had not just retreated. They had left behind clues, pieces of technology, strange data, and most terrifying of all, signals. They were learning, adapting, preparing. Aiden and Maria stood before the new Global Council. The leaders were nervous, but they knew the truth now. This wasn't over. Aiden spoke first. "We have to act fast. We don't know how long we have. The aliens won't rest until they've reclaimed what they've lost." Maria looked at the screen, showing strange anomalies detected in the outer space regions. "They'll come back. But this time, we need to be ready." Aiden stood at the window of the headquarters, his mind racing. After everything they had been through, could Earth survive another attack? What if the aliens were just waiting for the right moment to strike back? "We can't let fear control us," Maria said softly, walking up behind him. She placed a hand on his shoulder. "We've survived this long. We'll do it again." In the Sahara, Commander Ahmed had discovered something shocking. The desert was changing. The dunes were moving in unnatural ways. Something beneath the sand was stirring. A loud rumble shook the ground. Then, from deep within the sands, massive alien structures began to rise. The ancient dark technology that the aliens had hidden on Earth for centuries was awakening. They were not just defending. They were preparing for a second wave. In the Himalayas, Dr. Vargas had one final message. The pulse was not a weapon. It was a message. The aliens are communicating, and they're telling us to prepare. Back in London, the world leaders were once again in crisis mode. The message was clear. The second wave was coming. But this time, humanity wouldn't face it unprepared. They had learned. They had adapted. Now, Earth would take the fight to them.